Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamu alaikum. This is Iqra Hafeez and you're watching Desi TV USA and Dtvnn. Let's have a look at the special report. Houston Ethnic Media Roundtable meeting at Houston in action on Wednesday, November 30th, 2022. And talk on different agendas like briefing to support our editorial coverage in professional way. Access to newsmakers and subject matter experts. Strategies for generating and expanding revenues in order to survive, sustain and become successful by identifying the stakeholders and generous people and organizations who believe in diversity and inclusivity, and Sandy Close of Ethnic Media is taking the lead along with other ethnic media partners like Evelyn Castro, VP of La Prensa de Houston, Jawahar Malhotra of Indo-American News, Lucy Liu of Epic Time, and Tariq Khan from Pakistan Publications Incorporation Group of Companies, and with their publications Pakistan Chronicle, South Asian Chronicle, Pakistan Journal and TV channel Desi TV USA, Dtvnn, and their new DTV Flix promise Sandy Close to be on her side and willing to work hard as team to help Sandy Close from Ethnic Media Incorporation to achieve common goals for media. Sandy Close starting the roundtable talk and Brandon and storming session, Houston in action on 5300 Caroline Street, Houston.
Topic you feel would be of great interest to Epic Times?
Because for my company, we have a different group. Some group is speaking English very well, but some is maybe can communication, but it's not very not very involved all the
Not involved.
not involved all the professional topic because English limited. Yeah, so for me, my job is focus on the community, the Chinese community.
Yeah.
So I focus on the the people can read Chinese, speaking Chinese, but sometimes because you provide the good, very good translation, so for me, if you can provide the translation, the old topic, we are very welcome.
Okay.
Yeah.
You know, when I think maybe some people are looking outside,
Oh yeah. It's hard to find the
it's hard to find it.
Yeah.
Hi, Emerson.
Hi, Emerson.
Great to see you. Thank you very much for coming. Let me give you your speaker. And
Oh, hi. You? Hi.
I was trying to let them in. You're off, Jay. Hi, Sandy. Hi, over there, Jay.
I am so glad.
Can you take a picture?
My
This
pleasure.
is my last one.
And please help yourself to a little food, and we promise not to keep you for more than from 12 to 12:45.
Okay.
12 to 1
All
at the
right.
latest. Okay.
Yeah.
And in
Yeah,
fact, I'm gonna make sure everybody gets some of the
Good.
very good lemonade.
Oh, thank you. Oh, okay. There was a little, I didn't really know, it said no entrance.
It is confusing, but it's also a very intimate space with parking, so that's.
Correct, that's the part of
The parking part is very nice.
Oh.
And I'll share with people where I was this morning.
Okay.
But
Let's see who.
very lucky.
Well,
Very lucky.
Oh,
Someone on the phone said, "Oh, do you have any experience? Do you really know that?" Yeah.
Oh.
She's on her way.
Oh,
She's
great.
asleep.
Okay. Well,
I pinged everyone.
and soon it's late, but that's, look, we have, this is very good to get for food.
Yeah.
And thank you, always. Being there.
But I also work with the CA. Yeah, I work with them. Yeah. So, I mean, she has an office, so sometimes I'm not in the office, but I work with them.
Oh, okay. So, what's one of your dream job? Hopefully, like some very good other aid. Sometimes it's a program.
Yeah.
Good.
Well, thank you.
Normally we have Chinese food
Oh,
because we do our meetings at the boat people.
oh,
But today, we just wanted to do only media.
oh, okay, okay.
Media.
So after
Hello, how are you? Good to see you.
No, we'll come occasionally and do whatever we can, but I'd like to make a real considered push. And this Nguyen said to me when we were coming here, I'd like to feel when we leave, we're all on the same page. And that is what, you know, when I leave, it will be informed by this conversation. Shawana, the Black press has always had a critical role because of the moral authority of the Black voice, and also because rhetorically it's a powerful voice. Do you think, is there anything you want to add from the point of view of your knowledge of the Black press in Houston?
No, because I'm mostly here to support you. I'm Shawana. I'm not a journalist. I'm a writer, and I work for Houston in Action.
Some of us think journalists are writers.
Yeah.
So,
Well, I write plays,
okay.
and then I'm a writer, and it's actually I write for. We're just starting to write for African American news and issues because I'm also a historian, and so they asked me to come in and write a Houston history column. But I'm at Sandy from Houston in Action, and I know and have worked with people at the Defender, and I used to write an article for Regal Magazine, and then was able to connect her to the Black news outlets. And I wish I would have touched base with Chelsea before I came.
We'll be doing a Zoom call. Maybe you
Okay,
can
maybe I
join on
can
that.
join you both. Okay, because Chelsea's the editor at Round News. But I don't feel comfortable speaking because the amount of years, you know, hats off that you all have had. I mean,
But you're a critical door opener. And people keep saying what door to tell us where to open the door. You were key for me. Look, yeah,
Then, can I make a quick comment here?
yeah.
We focus so much, we talk so much about print media, but the fact of the matter is that radio media is also at a lot of stress.
Yeah.
I mean, people don't listen, they don't listen to the radio because they don't have a radio. The only radio they have is their car.
right.
So they only listen to the radio in the car. Or if you got an app, maybe you listen to it here. But you have to be very conscious to listen to it on the app, right? So radio is even more stressed out because they claim they can reach 30, 40, 50,000 people. But there's no way to measure whether you reach 30, 40,000 people. And you're selling ads, 30-second spots for $15. You have to sell a lot of ads. So basically, even with digital editions, you have to make sure people will go.
Today has been incredibly valuable.
Can I throw out a name for someone that, I mean, if we're doing this thing in January and maybe he's already part of the Houston Endowment, but the person who really needs to be involved in anything to help us is Tillman Fertitta. He's got the.
There is still a need for in-language media.
Right.
And in Los Angeles, there are many news, Chinese language media platforms.
But it's a
Those
smaller
were-
percentage of the total square footage we
Yes.
print.
Yes,
I mean, he
So-
prints USA, what's it called, right, in English. And then they have the daily Chinese newspaper too.
yeah.
But you recognize that you gotta go that direction.
Yeah, you're making an extremely important point. It has to be both and,
Mhm.
or we'll be in a corner.
Right?
I just have a quick question
And
because
then I'm gonna
yeah, I'm
go
so
to
sorry.
the
I won't
last
take too much of the time. I know that California works completely different than Texas. I'm talking about black and white or white and black. Completely different because even Google doesn't want to work with a lot of California papers. How can you, I know that you are an expert in California. There's different laws here in Texas.
Right.
Completely different than California. What have you done in California that you can apply here, and what would be the difference here that you cannot do in California?
I think there's things we can do here that have worked in California,
Correct.
but this will only work if it is shaped by the experiences in this room and by what is possible in Texas. In other words, the California model is only a starting point.
Correct.
This has to be ground zero. It has to be, and this is where I do think Houston Endowment can be an ally, can be an asset for us, because they have political influence. Look at their big new building. It's like in California, the California Endowment was why the Affordable Care Act worked. It really was in California. It was the California Endowment that drove the policymakers in California to expand Medi-Cal to kids, for example. So I do think that that's an important alliance we can build on. We need to, we can help bring together some important resources to brainstorm how to make this work in Texas.
Mm-hmm.
That's essentially what we can facilitate. We can't necessarily lead, but we can facilitate.
So I think that's what we're missing, the lead, because we don't have the bandwidth to lead. And I feel like I have enough time because I have a whole team behind me, but without my team, I wouldn't be able to do as much research as I've done.
Right.
So to come and like I had spoken to the gentleman from Houston In Style magazine, I believe I don't remember his name, but I had spoken to him in regards to already pursuing the whole law and legislative stuff. But again, I don't have the time to go deeper into it. It is just a matter of.
And it could be, in the end, what we ask the endowment to fund is somebody who can be a full-time coordinator for this effort.
Yeah, I was going to ask the Democracy Fund to fund me with funds for an executive assistant in order to lead the Texas.
Well, that having this access to this group may be we know the Democracy Fund from way back. One of the advantages of being old is that I've been around the nonprofit sector for many, many years.
And that's something that I'm getting my hands dirty with because I understand that that's what we need to do.
And that's great. Let's quickly, because I don't want to keep people.
No, I'll let him, I'll do the last part because I came late.
Okay.
So I'll have this.
So this is your publishing day. Thank you for being here. I know you're pretty much a one-person operation, and this is very valuable that you give your time. So Korea Journal, what advantage would there be for you to be part of a larger network?
First of all, thank you for giving me the opportunity and active media in Houston. Since you already know that my past experience, but my Korean journal is not a nation newspaper. It's an independent community-looking newspaper. We have 40 years, but it's very difficult time to after the COVID. It's the same as in we knew that we have to change something to the digital media, but finally it's a manpower level of manpower. We already about 2 years hiring the reporter because right now it's only me. Survivor. Before we had 3 reporter, but right now only me cover all of them. And then we are hiring the reporter, the staff, but never apply. And then
Nobody applied.
yeah.
Even if they apply,
Yeah.
they come and waste your time with like
Yeah,
the interview and then
the
they
young
don't come.
generation
trained.
didn't want
Yeah.
to Monday through Friday, even weekend they didn't want to work.
Yeah.
And then during the COVID, our company get the SBIDL loan. That is we think about this is a big chance to really change, but right now it's we still our financial is very difficult, so we never change. We trying to Yeah, but
it takes money
yes
to
yes.
change. No, to stop what you're doing and try something new. It takes resources.
And then I feel in ethnic media, but Korean community it is different to the California. In Houston, our population is very small, and then inside API community, it's very small, tiny, and then I felt always left behind. How can, because the Chinese media or Vietnam media, India, Pakistan, they big population, but we are very, very small. Yeah, 35,000 or 40. But it's a very small population. How do our independent, the small, tiny media can cooperate? But sometimes you talk to the commercial advertising, but we never tried to. But the last to the 2020 census, that is government to the PR. We tried newspaper tried very hard, but it's almost 7 months I fighting.
I know.
Yeah, and then, but it is very important experience to us. But after that, we very small budget get, but after that it's open door, and after that we get some government advertising on and on. But commercial advertising field in mainstream, I never.
What was your government advertising?
Right now is the health department.
The which?
The health
Oh,
department
health?
or
Yeah.
something like
Right.
yes.
Okay.
But
Thank you.
it's a corporate, and then we will very
Yeah.
it's getting power.
If you look in the packet, you'll see the most important sort of starting point for us to create a Houston Ethnic Media Roundtable, and that is the directory. At the moment, this is the most up-to-date list of media with live contacts, people who actually will respond, websites that network proof that ethnic media exists in this region. And when you have a directory, you have power, because people will want to reach the audiences served by these media. So this is the start, but we can make this double the size. Maybe that's our... I can. Thank you. This is our host from Houston in Action.
Hi.
Thank you. So the directory is sort of the foundation of today's meeting. If you have a directory, you have like your, it's like proof that ethnic media exists because it's accessible. Oh, you mean I can reach these people and they'll respond? Yes. We wanted to use today to ask you, does it make sense for your outlet? And obviously we kept it to 10 to 12 people that we invited. People we've worked with, people who joined the campaign first time ethnic candidates. We wanted to brainstorm, one, does it make sense to formalize this network? And we have an on-the-ground coordinator, Nguyen. Plus we have the Houston Endowment with a investment for 1 year, what is now 9 months, to see whether it makes sense for ethnic media to have a formal network. New America Media, which is now Ethnic Media Services, has a list of maybe 3,000 media nationwide. We're very active and visible in California. Last year, we brought about $4 million in advertising to ethnic media that might not otherwise have gone, because we finally developed the relationships with the ad agencies and the government public awareness campaigns to realize, hey, we really do need Punjabi radio in the Central Valley. It's the third most frequently spoken language in a big part of California, but it wasn't on anybody's media list. So it's making the Myanmar Gazette in Los Angeles the only Burmese newspaper in the country. Not only the founding members of our effort, which were the World Journal, the Tsingtao, and Chinese language, African American, Lao Pinyon, and Korean media, but also these small niche audiences that have become so important and have grown. African diaspora, Congolese, Somali, Ethiopia, all of these get missed by the agencies who really just want to say, we got Telemundo, we got Univision, but we missed Impulso, which reaches all the Oaxaqueños in California. That is what the advantage of creating a network that is really inclusive and has a directory and does events and makes itself visible. That's the advantage I know from many, many years. So now we have a grant from Houston Endowment, and Nguyen and I went today to meet with them, and this was the goal. See, they don't have a list that even, I would say, is a third of this, let alone the most recent. Now, it's not that they are sitting there saying, come and ask us for money. No, they fund nonprofits, but they funded us to help fund you. So when I say we're doing a briefing, we're going to provide fellowships for you to come. If you attend, that's great. If you cover, that's great. If you can send us links, that's gold. Because then we prove to the Houston Endowment it's working, and we can get them to increase. But more than that, they have the contacts with the top news makers, the top government agencies, the top cultural agencies, and they're very excited. They were very excited that people came to the briefing of first-time candidates. They thought that was amazing. Well, you did it. That's really amazing. Can you do more of it? Yes. And so what we would like to do today, I told them today we want to make sure that this is of value. I don't want to just do this. I'm too old. I could just stay in California, just keeping on what we do. But Houston, meeting Emerson years ago, meeting Oliver, meeting Lucy, and meeting Sohn over the years, and Tariq, and Evelyn having La Prensa, it made me feel we could do something in Houston, or Harris County, and Fort Bend, that could provide greater visibility, give you the convening power, let you say we're multi-ethnic. We can bring people together by working as a collective. But today, I really wanted to ask you, does it make sense? What could a collective do that you might not be able to do as well by yourself? As Cameron is saying, briefings tailored to ethnic media on topics you think are important, for which you get fellowships, because you should have a return on investment. How big? 300 is not that much, but it's something. And during the pandemic in California, many freelance reporters supported themselves through our weekly briefings. It's, it is some revenue, but more importantly, could we, in addition to the briefings, do network building events? And right away, the Houston Endowment said, we would like to meet with the ethnic media here in our new building and introduce you to our program officers who are in charge of sex trafficking, domestic violence, K-12 education. They have to fund in these areas, so they have experts. So right away, they looked at the directory, they looked at the report on the events, and they said, could you bring ethnic media here? That would be our first event. And then we could do another event and invite the top agencies of the county, Harris County, and Fort Bend. They said, the city is pretty conservative, but we know the department heads. So we can go directly to the department heads. And we could do, in other words, we can do events and we can do briefings. And in the process, I think, and this is how we were able to do it in California, generate more advertising revenue, although you know, I can't guarantee it, but I can say it's worked in California. So let me go around and just say, what would make a difference for you? Would it matter to be part, to grow a network, to be more visible as pan-ethnic media, multi-ethnic media roundtable? And if so, what would you like to see us do? Jay, you want to go first?
Sure. There are a number of questions going on in my head. I was trying to analyze what you're saying. From the get-go, this is a very welcome step forward. I think it's much overdue. I mean, we, as a media, we all.
That's all for now. For more updates, keep watching Desi TV USA and Dtvnn.